Just before, as I'm walking out of court, Elon Musk, I'm forever grateful. If you didn't step in and fund my legal fight for this, then I'd probably be in jail. So today, free speech won. In our fight back, the judge gave a damning verdict against them and against their unlawful and their targeted harassment. So thank you, Elon, from me, personally, thank you.
Tommy Robinson has released a new statement outside court in which he credits Elon Musk for helping secure his latest legal victory, saying he would probably be in jail without the billionaire's financial backing. The far-right activist, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, said the ruling was a damning verdict against what he described as unlawful and targeted harassment by his opponents, adding that the judge's decision represented a broader win for free speech. If you didn't step in and fund my legal fight for this, then I'd probably be in jail, Robinson said, addressing Musk directly. So today, free speech won in our fight back. Thank you, Elon. Personally, thank you. The clip marks the first time Robinson has publicly confirmed that Musk financed his legal defense, a claim that, if accurate, would represent one of the most direct crossovers yet between the world's richest man and Britain's most controversial dissident figure. Rumors have circulated for months about a behind-the-scenes relationship between the two men, especially after Musk publicly criticized the UK government's proposed Online Safety Act, and has repeatedly positioned himself as a defender of absolute free speech. If Robinson's claim is correct, Musk has now gone beyond platform support. Twitter reinstated Robinson's account earlier this year, and into direct legal intervention. That would be a seismic shift. A global tech CEO openly bankrolling a defendant who is routinely described by British media as a far-right agitator and repeated offender. While full details of the judgment are not yet published, Robinson says the case centered on alleged harassment, with the judge siding against what he called politically motivated legal warfare used to silence him. His framing echoes a wider narrative on the populist right, that the British legal system is increasingly used not to prosecute crimes, but to punish speech and dissent. If confirmed, it would not be the first time a judge has criticized overreach in legal actions against Robinson, but it would be the first time Elon Musk is publicly tied to the win. If Musk continues operating as a financial shield for figures aligned with anti-establishment speech, it could mark the beginning of a new kind of political patronage, outside party politics, outside national borders, powered by private wealth. Robinson is expected to release a full statement and may use the ruling to escalate campaigns against what he calls lawfare and censorship through the courts. Musk has not yet publicly responded, but if he confirms the funding, it will almost certainly trigger political backlash, particularly from MPs already calling for increased regulation of Twitter.
Well, here's the first difference. A reformed government and Nigel's prime minister will prioritise citizens of the United Kingdom, and that manifests itself in tens of billions of pounds in savings from the public purse. Let's take, for example, welfare payments. One of the things we're saying is it's insane, in our view, that non-citizens of the UK, i.e. foreign nationals, get access to welfare. So, for example, just universal credit alone, taking that away from foreign nationals would save £10 billion a year. The government hides the data with regards to foreign nationals claiming for most other benefits. The overall number will be bigger. Then you can talk about the £4 billion a year that people watching this program contribute in taxes to pay for accommodation for illegal migrants. We're going to deport people who are here illegally, so that cost no longer needs to be borne. And I want to be crystal clear too. People who follow Nigel Farage through his career know that, of course, we want to cut taxes. We want to get the state out of citizens' way. But the state of the British economy is such that, look, the interest payments alone on the national debt, which is closing in on almost £3 trillion, are almost as big as the military and schools budget combined. Then by the end of this parliament, the interest payments on the national debt, according to the OBR forecast, are going to be over £4,000 per household. Yeah, so what we're saying is, look, first we've got to restore the public finances that have been wrecked by the Uni Party. Then we can cut taxes.
can you cut taxes by creating wealth? I mean, Labour talk about this all the time, and they're inept at creating wealth. Can politicians, do they actually know how to create wealth?
Labour certainly don't. The first thing we've got to do is collapse our energy prices. Our energy prices are far, far too high in this country. There is not an example of a high growth economy in the world, nor will there ever be, with energy prices like the UK's that is growing fast. That's why GDP per capita, politicians always want to just talk about GDP while exploding the size of the population. GDP per person is only growing at 0.3%. It has trended lower and lower and lower as overall growth declines, and we ship in millions of people. That's what the Tories did. That's what the Labour Party are doing too. So we've got to get energy prices down. Number two, we've got to get rid of the overburdensome bureaucracy. You talk to so many businesses. Look, they don't mind regulation. That's fine. But they need to, A, understand what that regulation is, B, not have totally conflicting regulations. And then thirdly, we need competent ministers sitting around the cabinet table making decisions which make sense for the British people. The poster child for the opposite of everything I just said was HS2. £40 billion, spent on, bat tunnels and all sorts of insane things that make Britain, sadly, a country with the country of Isambard Kingdom, Brunel, and of extraordinary engineering prowess over the last few centuries, is now a laughingstock on the global stage. That's what reform will change.
So yeah, there's going to be plenty of people, plenty of Reform UK voters who are disappointed today and will be disappointed listening to Nigel Farage yesterday because they were hopeful for something different. They were hoping for competency from politicians, and they were hoping that with your contract with the people, that implies in itself that it cannot be broken. It's more than a manifesto, and already it's been broken. I mean, those tax cuts that were committed in the manifesto, in the contract with the people, have now become, well, just aspirations.
Well, let's be clear about something. Reform did not win the last general election, all right? And so what that was a commitment based on if Reform won that election. Sadly, Nigel is not yet our Prime Minister. Reform is not yet in government. And instead of Nigel at the tiller of this great ship of the United Kingdom, we have more drunken sailors who, as I said, are borrowing. She's going to borrow £40 billion more than she committed to in the manifesto just last year. And she's coming back to raise your taxes again in a few weeks' time. I mean, that disaster of a speech this morning was the definition of a waste of time. According to Capital Economics, Rachel Reeves is raising taxes at a faster rate than any chancellor in 55 years. So firstly, we wanted to end the doom loop so that British people no longer have to see their taxes rise every single year. And we also know that simply slashing taxes without getting the public finances in order, and yes, whether we like it or not, if you have £3 trillion of national debt and you have over £100 billion a year of interest payments, you do have to care about what your creditors think. And we learned from the Liz Truss situation that if you fail to do that and you fail to level with the British people, then disaster looms. People are still paying for that in their mortgage. So we will cut tax. Reform government will cut taxes. We will shrink the size of the state, but we'll do so in a responsible way.
We've got to leave it there. Zia,